It's Russ with Joe's Gaming and Electronics, here with another highly requested video. If you think this repair is too difficult, you can always send the unit in for repair. Today I'll be showing you guys how to replace the audio jack on a Beats EP. So let's get right into this. Let's go ahead and unwrap the unit. Set the unit aside. Get the cord. Usually I try to look for the spot that is ripped. You don't really want the cord too short, so if the cord is really short, you would have to do an upgrade. But since the audio jack just broke, we're just gonna have to cut it right here. So I just take the razor blade and just cut the jack, set that aside. Go ahead and trim up probably about 3/4 of an inch, just enough so you can solder and not mess up anything. Set that aside, garbage aside. So what I do first is I like to separate the wires. So the red wire, the green wire, and all this excess like insulation, it's not really needed, so it's gonna get into the way of everything. So I like to separate it. And then kind of get the rest of the wires out of the way. And I like to just cut them, get rid of them. Just cut them short. They don't have to be cut off all the way. Just cut them short so they're not in the way. So next there will be a wire, a gold wire, which has a red and a green wire mixed into it, which would be the mic wire. So go ahead and take that, separate it from all the gold wires. So the wires that are going to be together are all the gold wires. Let's go ahead and wind them up together like so. So now you have the red wire, the green wire, and the red and green, and the gold wire. So the mic, left, right speaker, and then this is kind of like a ground. So next, I like to get the AUX jack, the replacement one, set up. So go ahead and get some alligator clips to help you hold whatever you're going to be soldering it to. And put the end piece on first. So what you will have to do is slide it into there. And then this will be sent in with the replacement. It's a shrink. It's like a shrink tube. So I usually cut that in half because you don't really need too much. If you leave that whole thing in there, it's gonna stick out at the end. It's not gonna look pretty. So take it out. Get the other piece out of the way. So put that insulation through. Make sure it's on top, because people always make the mistake of putting that first and then that. So make sure the end cap is on first before you put the insulation tube on. So let's make sure that happens first. So go ahead and get some flux. Get some flux on each wire. It just helps the solder actually stick to the actual wires, so you're not just burning the wires, and it gives a little bit of a wetness to the wires so they don't burn. It's kind of nice. Go ahead and get your solder gun, and then get some solder onto there. Kind of help clean the tip. And then I usually like to just first make sure all the wires are all nice and moist. Go ahead and get some solder now and apply some solder at the edge of each single one. Don't solder too much, because then it's gonna be a mess. You would have to cut everything down and it's not gonna be very pretty. So go ahead and tin all the wires. And also Next step would be get some flux, add some flux onto the AUX jack. Don't worry about it being too wet. Go ahead and add solder onto each of the points. Just gonna take that, see how it looks. Looks good. Go ahead and put it back on. Make sure the points are not touching, because then it can cause a big issue in the future. It can cause shorts, which would then make the unit stop working, left-right speaker not working. It just make the unit not want to work at all. So go ahead, start off with the gold wire. So go ahead, solder the gold wire on first at the top. I usually like to use something that can help me so I don't burn my hands. So next I would take the red wire, solder it on the second point, and then the green wire on the third point. Sometimes it could be a little messy. Just try to keep it as neat as possible. Go ahead and take those wires to the side. Just get soldered back on. And then the red and green wire, it's the mic wire. That one goes at the bottom. And before shrinking the tube onto the terminals, I usually like to give it a quick test. Make sure everything works. All the functions work properly. Pause, play, perfect. Everything seems to work nice. Now let's check the mic. Hello, hello. Okay, awesome. Looks good. Go ahead and unplug it. Let's go ahead and apply our shrink tube. Go ahead and kind of push down the wires so it looks nice. And then go ahead and apply some heat, the heat gun. It's gonna get a little hot, but try to not point it towards your hand. Try to get one side on first. Okay. It's a little hot, so be careful. Next, go ahead and add the back cover onto here, and it should roll nicely on. Go ahead and add some Loctite. Get some Loctite on there. It's a little too much. And go ahead and add some 2P10 in the end. Go ahead and spray some activator. go ahead and put this back together. And that is how you replace an AUX jack on a BTP. The parts are all linked in the description. Thank you for watching.